speaking can mute your mic, please. Those who are not speaking can mute your mic as well as video.
Now he's seen.
Can you see Bishop?
Yeah, I can see.
Can you please mute your mic as well as video? Those who are not speaking.
No, otherwise he's not able to hear his voice. Give him earphone.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear?
Haridas, let
Yes,
us begin, please.
Look,
Let us
can you hear
begin.
me? I am Haridas. We will start with a prayer by Lisa from Caritas India.
Swami Maharaj, welcome. Nice to see you. Yeah.
Dear archbishops, bishops, sisters, fathers, and my dear friends, a very good morning to one and all. We shall begin the prayer with a reading from the Holy Bible. A reading taken from the book of Job, chapter 12, verses 7 to 10. But ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds of the air, and they will tell you, or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, or let the fish of the sea inform you. Which of all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every creature and the breath of all mankind. Loving Father, as we are celebrating the 5th anniversary of the publication of the encyclical Laudato Si as Environment Week, open our eyes and ears to listen to the cry of you, cry of the Mother Earth, and the cry of the poor. Fill each one of us with a spirit of concern for the future of our environment. Bring an end to the exploitation of the earth's scarce resources and live as responsible stewards, protecting and respecting this gift of creation you have placed in our hands. Bless all the speakers of today. Bless all the participants. May we learn together to take care of creation, a free gift. We make this prayer in his holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Lisa, for the prayer. Your Grace, Excellencies, fathers, sisters, and dear friends, this is the program for today. The program Laudato Si, the webinar on Laudato Si and COVID-19. So may I request Father Paul to give the welcome speech.
Good morning, everyone.
Father Paul
Namaste.
is the Executive Director of Caritas India and a vibrant personality with a lot of perfections in his work, and he is the leader of Caritas India. May I request Father Paul to give the welcome speech.
Good morning, everyone. Esteemed guests for the webinar on Laudato Si and COVID today. We have the gracious presence of the Secretary General of CBCI, His Grace Archbishop Felix Machado. We have the wonderful presence of Swami Maharaj, Puja Chidananda Saraswati ji. We have the esteemed presence of Sadhvi Bhagavati ji. Dearest Your Excellency, Bishop Joshua Mar Ignatius, Vice President 1 of Catholic Bishops Conference of India. Dearest Your Excellency Bishop Alvin De Silva, other members on the panel, esteemed guests and participants for this conference from different parts of the world. My dear brothers, sisters, and my dear people, Laudato Si mi Signore. Praise be to the Lord Jesus. The topic of today's conference is Laudato Si and COVID-19. This conference is a tribute to the historical document of our beloved Pope Francis, Laudato Si, a great treasure of the modern era, as a tribute to the environment and the creation of God, Mother Earth. Mother Earth is our common home. Our common home, Mother Earth, was in a very precarious situation. Thanks to COVID, we see beautiful changes happening in the nature. Friends, as you know, I am addressing from Delhi, the capital of our country. Delhi, which has usually unbreathable air, a smog-choked city throughout the year. Thanks to reduction in human activity in the COVID times, the sky is cleared. Stars are bright at night. Birds have come back. Trees are greener. More rains. What a beautiful feeling. All because of COVID pandemic. In these days of lockdown, my prayer and meditation was on the word of God, Psalm 51, wherein Lord is telling us, listen, listen, and listen. He is speaking to us. We need to just listen to him. When we listen to him, he comes to us with beautiful messages. Maybe one of the beautiful message that he is giving to us is through the beauty of the creation. Needless to say that all of us are experiencing the beauty of this nature and creation and environment in a very special way during these COVID pandemic times. And I think this is the most befitting time in this Laudato Si week, as a tribute to the historical document of Pope Francis, Laudato Si, to come together, to reflect, learn lessons, and take inspirations for the future, so that we contribute our might to make this planet Earth a beautiful one, a habitat, something which can be enjoyed by everyone. I had the privilege of attending an international conference on religion and SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals. As most of you know, what the important 5 principles of a Sustainable Development Goals: people, planet, prosperity, partnership, and peace. These important 5 principles are being very much enshrined in this beautiful document of my dear friends, if you can mute your mic, that would be a great help. Lot of disturbance in between. Sorry about that. As I have been telling, all these important principles of sustainability are being beautifully enshrined in this document of Laudato Si. So in this COVID times, Pope Francis is coming to us again, reminding with these beautiful lessons of life. My dear friends, let us try to understand, assimilate, and take home this message so that we can contribute in a significant way to the sustainability of the creation, this beautiful nature. Having said that, having informed the objective of this conference, let me get into my duty of welcoming each and every one of you. This conference, the opening message will be given by His Grace Archbishop Felix Machado, who is the Secretary General of Catholic Bishops' Conference. Your Grace, welcome to this conference. Next, I would like to welcome His Excellency Bishop Sebastian Kallupura, who is the Chairman of Caritas India, a vibrant person, a person who leads us from friend. Bishop Sebastian, welcome. We have the esteemed presence of Pujya Swami Maharaj, Chidananda Saraswati Ji, who is the president of Paramarth Niketan Ashram in Rishikesh, and also the founder chair of Global Interfaith Wash Alliance, a person who is knowledgeable, who is so religious, a great son of our country, and also a great friend of Pope Francis. Swami Maharaj, welcome. Along with him, we have Sadhvi Bhagavati Ji Saraswati, who is the Secretary General of Global Interfaith Wash Alliance. When I was thinking of calling a woman to speak to us about Mother Earth and the beauty of the nature, she is the one who came to my consideration, and Sadhvi Ji has graciously consented to be with us. Sadhvi Ji, welcome to this beautiful reflection session. Along with that, Sadhvi Ji, we have the gracious presence of Bishop Alvin De Silva, who is the President of Commission for Ecology with the CCBI and FABC, also the Auxiliary Bishop of Bombay Archdiocese. Your Excellency, welcome. I was keeping purposely to take the name of Bishop Joshua last because he is the moderator of this beautiful conference, a person who is so down to earth and a person who loves the nature so beautifully and comes to us with a lot of motivation and inspiration. Bishop Joshua Mar Ignatius is the Vice President 1 of Catholic Bishops Conference of India. Bishop Joshua, most welcome to moderate this session and give us your inspiration. Welcome. Now we have Reina Braganza, a vibrant lady from Pune, who is also very much actively engaged with the Caritas mission, who was the former board member of Caritas India, and she will give us a women's perspective to Laudato Si in the context of COVID. Reina, welcome to this conference. We have Father Joseph Gonzalez, who is the Executive Secretary of FABC and CCD. Father Joseph, welcome. And I have the pleasure of welcoming Father Jolly, my friend and my brother, to this conference, who will be also actively participating in this conference and giving us the Thanksgiving note. I have the honor of welcoming participants from across the globe. We have people from Pakistan. I see the presence of Amjad, the director of Caritas Pakistan. We have people from Myanmar, people from Singapore, people from Global Catholic Climate Movement, Italy, and other parts of the globe. And we have several other dignitaries participating. We have our forum directors, we have our diocesan directors, partners, and many more participating in this conference. My dear friends, already we have the list of 131 people participating in this conference and many more to join. I welcome each and every one of you on behalf of Caritas India and the Catholic Church in this beautiful session as a tribute to the wonderful document Laudato Si of Pope Francis. Wish a wonderful time and a great moment of blessings during this conference. Thank you and welcome each and every one of you. God bless.
Thank you, Father Paul, for your wonderful speech as well as welcoming all the dignitaries. Now, as you mentioned, the moderator of this important webinar is Bishop Joshua Mar Ignatius, who is the CBCI Vice President #1. Over to you, Your Excellency, Bishop Joshua. Bishop Joshua, can you unmute your mic?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear. We can hear.
Yeah. My dear friends, 2020 occasions the 5th anniversary of Laudato Si, which was signed on 24th May 2015. In the first week of March, Pope Francis announced Laudato Si Week, May 2020, that is from 16th to 24th May, to mark the 5th anniversary of the document publication. The theme of Laudato Si, which is everything is connected. During Laudato Si Week, we come together as one people around the world to prayerfully discern the lessons of this moment. While the world experiences a history-defining crisis, we reflect and prepare to build a better world. Laudato Si offers a vision, perspectives for building a more just and sustainable world. Laudato Si is a prophetic text that energizes, builds bridges, and gives new hope to everyone. At this time of COVID-19 crisis, we can recognize the prophetic words of Laudato Si that invited us to acknowledge the fragility of our science, technology, and intelligence, and encouraged us to wonder at the beauty of creation and our interconnectedness. COVID-19 has brought to light our vulnerability and the fragility of our existence. This virus has brought our modern world to a grinding halt, followed by an economic recession, challenging our cultural and ecological attitudes of indifference to the suffering of Mother Earth. Around the world, the Church is at the forefront in dealing with the consequences of the coronavirus. Short-term laying projections regarding healthcare as well as economic and social necessities are needed. While vaccines and treatments to eradicate COVID-19 continue to be tested, the forecast of the International Monetary Fund for 2020 speak of a 3% drop in the global gross domestic product. The decline would be worse than the Great Depression of the 1930s. The message at the heart of Laudato Si speaks of the need for fundamental changes to how humans are living as part of a shared common home. These messages would be taken on board as we face that new world. COVID-19 and the profound changes it has brought to the human community is an opportunity, an invitation to live differently. Pope Francis' encyclical Laudato Si, praise be to you, is a worldwide wake-up call to help humanity understand the destruction that man is rendering to the environment and his fellow man. While addressing the environment directly, the document's scope is broader in many ways as it looks at not only man's effect on the environment, but also the many philosophical, theological, and cultural causes that threaten the relationship of man to nature and man to each other in various circumstances. From the outset, Pope Francis states the goal of the document in this encyclical. I would like to enter into dialogue with all people about our common home. What kind of world do we want to leave to those who come after us, to children who are now growing up? This question is at the heart of Laudato Si, the encyclical on the care of the common home by Pope Francis. The encyclical takes its name from the invocation of Saint Francis, praise be to you, my Lord. In this canticle of the creatures, it reminds everyone that the earth, our common home, is like a sister with whom we share our life and a beautiful mother who opens her arms to embrace us. People have forgotten that we ourselves are dust of the earth. Our very bodies are made up of her elements. We breathe her air and we receive life and refreshment from her waters. Now this earth, mistreated and abused, is lamenting, and its groans join those of all the forsaken of the world. Pope Francis invites us to listen to them, urging each and every one, individuals, families, local communities, nations, and the international community to an ecological conversion. In the expression of St. John Paul II, we are invited to change direction by taking on the beauty and responsibility of the task of caring for our common home. Happily, Pope Francis recognizes that there is a growing sensitivity to the environment and the need to protect nature, along with a growing concern, both genuine and distressing, for what is happening to our planet. A ray of hope flows through this entire encyclical, which gives a clear message. Humanity still has the ability to work together in building our common home. Men and women are still capable of intervening positively. All is not lost. Human beings, while capable of the worst, are also capable of rising above themselves, choosing again what is good and making a new start. Pope invites everyone to recognize the rich contribution which the religions can make towards an integral ecology and the full development of humanity. Recalling that no project can be effective if it is not animated by a formed and responsible conscience. Ideas are put forth to aid growth in this direction, and the educational, spiritual, ecclesial, political, and theological levels. What is happening to our common home? The gospel of creation. the human roots of ecological crisis, integral ecology, lines of approach and action, ecological education and spirituality, all that is beautifully given in this encyclical Laudato Si. Laudato Si has been welcomed as a document of deep, abiding beauty, and it has prompted people around the world to reflect more deeply on Creator and creation. Its vision of integral ecology, which sees connections between how we treat God, nature, and each other, offers simple but profound truths about the bonds that unite us. Pope Francis' encyclical on care for our common home, Laudato Si, is an inspiration during moments of difficulty. It encourages us to reflect on the values we share and create a more just and sustainable future. I appreciate very much the efforts taken by the Federation of the Asian Bishops' Conference as well as Caritas India to inculcate this inspiration to the society in which we live. I do appreciate very much all the participants, especially the panelists, and your presence. We appreciate very much on behalf of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India. Once again, I welcome all of you. May God bless and have a fruitful discussion.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Bishop Joshua. You have to moderate the session. Next is by our new chairman, Most Reverend Sebastian Calibra is the new chairman of Caritas India. He will set the context of this webinar. So may I request Bishop Sebastian Calibra to set the context of this webinar.
Most Reverend Joshua Mar Ignatius, the moderator of this conference, and our esteemed panelists of this conference, and my dear friends, those who are viewing us from all over the world, a very good morning to all of you. Dear friends, at this point of human history, the whole world is faced with an unprecedented human devastation caused by the pandemic. As if that is not enough, the fury of the cyclone Amphan has caused massive destruction in the eastern coastal areas. The lockdown has drastically restricted our activities and movements. The heart-rending scene of the migrants walking to their native villages, even barefooted, in this scorching sun through the concrete highways they built with their own sweat, continue to haunt us. But the wild animals, the reptiles, the birds freely moving around the human habitations, enjoying the freedom of the children of God, has become a common phenomenon. Despite the suffocating situation caused by COVID-19, humans have started to breathe fresher air, enjoying cleaner rivers, watch the renewed beauty of nature. This current situation has set people to introspect more seriously and find that we ourselves are the reason behind the unwanted situation caused by the devastation of nature. Dear friends, prophetic messages on the dire need to save the Mother Earth have been conveyed to us through people like Al Gore with the documentary An Inconvenient Truth. And at this juncture, as we recall what Pope Francis conveyed to the world 5 years ago through this encyclical Laudato Si, meaning praise be to you, understanding, accepting, and imbibing the message in this capsule and integrating it into our lifestyle is a sure remedy for many maladies humanity is facing today. On the occasion of the 5th anniversary of the publication of this encyclical, Pope Francis himself said that coronavirus has highlighted the importance of caring for our common home and voiced hope that reflections surrounding Laudato Si anniversary will help create and strengthen constructive attitudes for the care of creation, thereby inviting global citizens to adopt more sustainable practices. He then formally inaugurated Laudato Si Week, setting to run from May 16 to 24, and which is the beginning of an entire year of activities dedicated to implementing Laudato Si, beginning May 24, 2020 and ending on May 24, 2021. The theme for Laudato Si week this year is that everything is connected. Everything is connected, said Brenna Davis, Director for Education for Justice and Environmental Initiatives for the Ignatian Solidarity Network. During this pandemic, that idea has been made real for us as a global community. We can clearly see that our health is connected, access to food is connected to the health of the workers, and caring for the health of individuals, especially the most vulnerable, promotes the common good of everybody. I hope that the 5th anniversary of Laudato Si can be a time where we take this lesson and apply it to how we care for our common home and climate change. What affects even the smallest creature or a neighbor on the other side of the world affects us all. Please remember, the focus of the encyclical on the idea of integral ecology, connecting care of natural world with justice for the poorest and most vulnerable people can radically reshape our relationship with God, with our neighbors, and with the natural world to tackle the threats facing our planet today. Dear friends, at the heart of the Pope's reflections is the question which was raised by Bishop Ignatius: what kind of world do you want to leave to those who come after us, to the children who are now growing up? More than ever before, the world needs prophets who can inspire others to move in the right direction. Keeping this objective in mind, on the occasion of the 5th anniversary of the inspiring encyclical Laudato Si by a modern prophet, Pope Francis, Caritas India and FABC are organizing this symposium Pope Francis has invited everyone to undertake shared commitment to help build and strengthen constructive attitudes aimed at caring for creation. Certainly, our sharing will facilitate to discover the treasures contained in the encyclical and pave the way for immediate steps to counteract the suicidal tendencies prompted by human selfishness. Personal study of Laudato Si and more symposiums like this can inspire modern prophets to emerge. Hence, in this week, let us focus on diving deep into the spirit of the encyclical and draw practical conclusions to be implemented from 24th of May 2020 onwards. We will have to plan new pedagogy in the traditional educational system, adapt a new module of lifestyle. Example, opting for more public transportation system, not owning one's own vehicles, reduce the concrete structures, increase greenery around, adapt welfare schemes for the laborers, the poor, and so on. In the end, well, for the promotion of the care of creation in its every aspect. The Pope says the cry of the earth and that of the poor cannot anymore to continue. We need the antibodies of solidarity for this. For this, first of all, we need to break all the fatalism in which we may have immersed ourselves. These are his own words. Shall we emulate a life worthy of this call individually and collectively? Taking care of God's creation, preserving its purity, and purpose itself is worship and praise to the loving Creator. This is what Laudato Si says. Keeping this in mind, let us celebrate the Laudato Si week together, friends, praying, reflecting, planning for a better world order. Thank you very much. I welcome all of you to this panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Bishop Sebastian, for setting the context of this webinar. You have connected Laudato Si with the protection of natural resources. Now is the opening message by Most Reverend Felix Machado, the Secretary General of CBCI. So over to you, Your Grace, for your opening remarks.
Dear esteemed guests and dear friends, on behalf of His Eminence Cardinal Oswald Gracious, the President of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India, and on behalf of the office bearers, one among whom is Bishop Joshua, I greet you Namaskaram. On the occasion of this 5th anniversary of Laudato Si, and to understand sustainable ways of living and addressing our commitment to take care of the Mother Earth. During this week, several programs have been organized by Caritas, and I commend very much the work of Caritas, the wonderful service that is rendered, especially to the most needy and the poor of our country. The theme, as it was often repeated, is Laudato Si and COVID-19 pandemic. Dear friends, the poor are abandoned and maltreated, but the earth is among the most abandoned and maltreated of our poor. The Catholic Church, other churches, and also other religions, as well have expressed deep concern, and all agree, following their respective traditions, that for human beings to contaminate the earth's waters, its land, its air, and its life, these are sins. For to commit a crime against the natural world, is a sin against ourselves and a sin against God. The majority of our people living on this planet Earth profess to be believers. This should spur religions to dialogue among themselves for the sake of protecting nature, defending the poor, and building networks of respect and fraternity. It's a call to understand, in the light of the situation of COVID-19, the urgency of taking care of our common home. My question is, are we going to return to the way things were? And if so, that would be the recession, and we should fear the most. One of the points emphasized in Laudato Si, this also was repeated by those who spoke before me, the point emphasized is the interconnectedness and the interdependence among all beings on this planet. Feeling of solidarity is a positive fruit of the present health crisis that we are going through. The humanity feels so united, so equal, so less in conflict at this moment of pain. The virus knows no borders. And so I ask, why continue to build walls? Why continue to do violence to our Mother Earth, our common home? I would like now that we all listen to the esteemed panelists, some of whom, like Pujya Swami Chidananda Saraswati, is a dear friend of mine, also together with Sadhvi Bhagwati Saraswati ji. We are on several other international common activities in favor of interreligious dialogue and in favor of ecology. Once again, I greet all of you in the name of the President of CBCI, and I wish all the panelists the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Grace, for your great opening message. And you have reiterated the need of promoting resources, natural resources, and you have really connected the need of protecting, preserving, and conserving natural resources. Thank you very, very much, Your Grace.
Thank you.
Now is the message by Puja Swami Chidananda Saraswati, who is the founder of India Heritage Research Foundation and a wonderful friend of Caritas India. Over to you, Maharaja Puja Saraswati Chidananda, Puja Swami Chidananda Saraswati. Over to you.
Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma
Hello.
We'll wait just for We'll wait for a minute. I think it's coming back.
Now is okay. My voice is there.
Yeah, we can hear
Hello?
you, Swami. Yeah,
Okay,
we
thank
can
you.
hear you.
Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste to all, and my dear divine spiritual brothers. Honorable Pope Francis encyclical was very historic. It showed the world the great power of faith. And I remember at that time I wrote an article about his vision. He gives so many vision, direction, and inspirations. I love this theme of one human family, one common home. In Sanskrit, in our scriptures, it is beautifully said, Mata Bhumi Putroham Prithivya Mata Bhumi Putroham Prithivya Mata Bhumi Putroham Prithivya. The earth is our mother and we are her children. What happens to her happens to us. Of course, when our mother is sick, mother is ill, we can not merely dialogue and discuss. We must come together to act and take care of her. That's what is needed today. Another core teaching of Hinduism is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Not only human beings, but all living beings, which means the whole world is one family. It is so beautiful to be with you today. I'm glad that this opportunity will bring us more closer, more together. And today is a very special day. On International Biodiversity Day, where we celebrate the diversity not only in all of creation, but the diversity of our one humanity. And I have a beautiful green gift for you all. I wish I am giving you virtually, but when we are together, I will offer you, each one of you, this beautiful green plant. Thank you. Today, so many of us are on lockdown. We are locked down in our homes. And I believe that is the best response to this crisis. Just because we are locked, we should not be down. Here in Rishikesh, everyone is feeling so high. Spirit is high, soul is flying. And they are loving it to be here with the nature. But at the same time, I can see the air is fresh, as our Honorable Father Paul said. Rivers are dancing, air is dancing, birds are chirping. But at the same time, there is a virus in the air. Yes, there is a virus. but there must not be a virus in our minds and in our hearts. And our minds and hearts need to be the fertile soil to grow seeds of a new, healthier, united tomorrow for our coming generations. The seeds we need to plant are very simple, very simple. Live simply so that others might simply live. Mahatma Gandhi said so beautifully, there is always enough for everyone's need, but there is never enough for even one person's greed. Let us learn and teach and preach the importance of consuming only according to our need, not according to our greed. Let us move from a greed culture to a green culture. Let us move together from a need culture to a new culture, a culture of living with less and sharing more. Life is not to have more. God bless people to have more. But life is not to have more. Life is to be more, share more, give more. And this is the time that we should come together and share more and give more to our community. And at the same time, let us inculcate human values in our faith communities, which are very important, that teaches the world. That world is a parivar, not a bazaar. When we are one family, we take care of each other. It's not consume and throw, but consume and grow. It's not use and throw, but I think use and grow. Find more innovative ways to teach sustainability. Encourage people to see waste as wealth, to see challenges as opportunities, even Corona as an opportunity to cultivate Karuna. Our religious, I think Corona is a ambassador of Mother Earth. It comes to me sometime. Our religious leaders must be the embodiments of this Karuna, compassion. The steps we need to take for a brighter, safer, healthier, green tomorrow are very simple and very powerful. Number one, plant trees. We should encourage our followers and communities to plant trees for our birthdays, every marriage ceremony, every anniversary, every festival. Our festival must be green festival. Every ceremony must be a green ceremony. Even the prasad we give, that also should be very green as a plant. As I brought for you all, I think we should give to our congregation a green gift as a plant, as a sapling. And these plants keep giving, and keep giving. Don't cut trees or let them be cut due to our greed. Number three, it means we all have to be vegetarian. We should try at least. Or if we can't be vegetarian all the time, at least we should cut down significantly the amount of meat we eat. I don't, but people who eat. A vegetarian diet is the single greatest, most powerful step to protect our Mother Earth. And of course, if there were no meat eating, there would be no meat markets because there's a demand and supply. There'll be no passing of illness from animals to humans. For ourselves and our planet, we should become vegetarian. Let us be veggie. Number four, save water. By 2040, the world will have only half the drinking water it needs. India will reach there by 2030, very soon, maybe sooner. That will be another major pandemic, but one without a vaccine. There will be no vaccine. Here we are looking for vaccine. Yes, we will bring the vaccine, but for this, we will not have any vaccine. The vaccine is now. Our actions now to save and preserve our water. Number five, and there are so many actions we can take every day to reduce our carbon and water footprint. That's why I loved when Honorable Pope brought this green vision. I loved it. And I immediately said it is a Pope of hope. Pope for a green future. Pope for a new future. And we all have to, all the top spiritual leaders and every religious leaders have to come together for this vision. Lastly, coronavirus has given us the opportunity to focus and take care of our three things. Three things. Number one, our culture. Number two, our nature. And number three, our future. Number one, our culture. Not our individual cultures based on our countries or religions, but our global culture of humanity and oneness. Our culture of togetherness, our culture of inclusiveness, our culture of allness, our nature is a great gift to us. Mother Earth is healing. When we go inside, she heals, and we can see that, how the rivers are dancing. It shows us that we are the problem and we are the solution. Let us be the solution for the coming generations. You are the power, and empower the world because you are faith leaders. Feel the power and fill the power to your congregations, and let us do it together. Today it is a COVID. Tomorrow may be climate change. Day after tomorrow will be maybe global warming and something else. Even today, so many millions of people are dying each year due to air pollution and water pollution. When our air is polluted, our water is polluted, and our soil is polluted, how can we be healthy? How can Mother Earth also can be healthy? If she is sick, we will be sick. And our future, suddenly, everyone is very worried. What will be after post-corona? What will be our future? People are always worried about the future. Of course, we should be. What will happen to our loved ones? What will happen to our jobs? What will happen to our shops? What will happen to our jobs, to our economy? But we need an economy that remembers the eco at the beginning. These days, we have an egonomy. These days, we have an egonomy rather than an economy. Egonomy to economy. I think we have to move in this direction. Our economy tragically has become about people fulfilling their own egos. Let us create a green economy, an economy where all can be healthy, all can be fed, all can be healed. The future is in our hands, and it depends on how we live in the present. So let us take care of our culture, take care of our nature, and that will help us to take care of our future. As Father Fall said so beautifully in the beginning, this is the time to listen to God. And I think this is the time to listen to Mother Nature, listen to the ancient wisdom. We have worshipped the Creator for so long. Let us now take care of the creation. Let us take care of the creation. As Father said again so beautifully in our Earth Summit, I remember the nature of our future depends on the future of our nature. To me, if nature thrives, the world thrives. If nature dies, the world dies. Because there can be a plan A or plan B, but there will not be a planet B. Only one planet we have, our divine planet, our DL planet, our own home. We must protect, preserve, and serve it together. If we do it, it can happen, and we must do it. Thank you. Thank you for this great webinar, great conference, and great opportunity to be together. Let us have a more opportunity to share and share and share. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Swamiji. Swamiji, for your encouraging and highly motivating words. Thank you very much for appreciating the encyclical of Pope Francis, Laudato Si. And it is focusing on one human family, one common home. As you rightly said, we need to protect our Mother Earth, and the time has come for us to do it very, very fast. Thank you very much for your green gift and your message of moving from greed culture to green culture, which is clean culture. Thank you very, very much, Swamiji, for your words, your beautiful message. Thank you very much. Yeah. Over to Bishop Alvin De Silva. who is the auxiliary bishop of Bombay, as well as the president of Commission of Ecology, CCBI, and he was the secretary for FABC for many years, and now he is the bishop. Thank you very much, Bishop, for joining. Over to you for your message.
Thank you for inviting me. My dear friends, I don't think I have much to say because all the previous speakers have spoken and they have emphasized very important points. I would just like to add my reflections. As Father Paul said, that we don't have the scarcity of water now. I remember during the last few years, during the month of May or during the month of April, every year, we used to get warnings. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, Bishop
Yes,
Alvin.
Bishop, yeah.
Yes,
You can hear me?
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. So during the past few years, every year during the month of April and during the month of May, we used to get warnings. There's scarcity of water, especially in Mumbai. The lakes are drying up, and we were all really frightened whether we would have enough water in the month of June. But this year, there's no warning. Nobody is telling us, please be careful how much water you're using to wash your hands. And I ask myself, why? We are all here in India. So who was using water? We were using water, or there was someone else who was using water? You also some speakers spoke about air pollution. They say that the CO2 emissions have fallen in India for the first time since 1982. So the air is no longer polluted. We are breathing fresh air. So who was polluting the earth? Who were the people responsible for polluting the earth? Of course, even some of us were responsible for polluting the earth. You know, I'm locked down in my own church compound. And as I walk, I find a number of sparrows. The first is to put some cages so that the sparrow would come during the month of May. But the whole garden is full of sparrows. The whole garden is full of martins. The whole garden is full of pigeons and crows and some new birds which I have not seen before. Pope Francis spoke that our biodiversity was being destroyed. But it has come back. And the question is, how has it come back? Who were responsible for driving away all these birds? I leave you to answer these questions. Who were responsible? And I think just now we heard that we should go for a green economy and a new lifestyle. I know it is a bit, sort of funny, but 130 of us, 130 of us who are participating in this webinar, if there was no pandemic, we would have all flown to Delhi. We would all come by planes. And today we are interacting with each other, and we are, I think, gaining the same insights. There's a steep drop in travel. They say that it will save up to 3 million barrels per day of global oil. So I think this pandemic has invited us to be completely different, to live a different lifestyle. They say in Brussels, when the lockdown is lifted, or when they lifted the lockdown, they started to prepare bike lanes, cycling network, because they were afraid of the transport for social distancing, and therefore more and more cycles were on the road. We are going to change our lifestyle too. We are going to live differently. So I would like to end, though it is not connected with this topic, but we are all confronted with the migrants. They are the victims of, mainly the victims of this pandemic. But I would like to share with you that please don't call them migrants. They are citizens of India. They are our own, especially those who belong to our country. And as Archbishop Felix also said, all the walls that divide us should be broken. And therefore, these citizens of India need our help. These citizens of India require our attention. So, my dear friends, let us, another thing which I would like, on which I would like to end is, suddenly we have realized that our health system was not very strong. That the citizens of India, some were favored and some were not favored. And therefore, they have to go to another state. My dear friends, during this pandemic, as the other speakers have spoken, let us rethink our lifestyle. Let us rethink or think who were responsible for this decay. And let us try to live a green lifestyle, as Pope Francis has invited us. Let us strive to have a green economy, and let us strive to have a green spirituality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bishop Alvin, for your strong message. You posed some question like who are polluting the air, who are polluting water, and you were reiterating the need of promoting green economy and green lifestyle. Thank you very much, Bishop Alvin, for joining this webinar and giving a very good talk message. Next is the turn for Sadhvi Bhagavati Saraswati ji for your message. Over to you, Saraswati ji.
Such a wonderful and a wonderful to be able to be together with all of you here at this very, very special and beautiful wedding. And especially in honor of His Holiness, His Excellency, Pope Francis. It really gave a vision. It was not a calling just to the world Christian.
The communication is not very clear.
You can't hear me. Okay, just one moment.
Okay.
Nandini, Sadhviji's audio is not very clear, some problem.
Yeah.
I can't
Now, mute again.
Can you hear me now?
Sadhviji, much better, much better.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It's such a beautiful, beautiful honor and beautiful joy to be here together with you all. And as I was saying, to be here in honor of the anniversary of the visionary encyclical that our most respected, beloved, His Excellency, His Holiness, His Grace, Pope Francis gave us. It was a vision, not just for the world Christian community, but actually for the entire global community. Because the teachings in it, the emphasis in it, it's not just for those who are Christian, it's actually for everyone. And as Puja Swamiji was sharing here, we are very great fans of his, love him very much. And he really is a leader, a world leader, not just for those of the Christian community, but for all of the world community, because his teachings are applicable to people of every race and every religion. And this theme that we have kept of one family, one human family, and one common earth, this is really the truth of today. It's not just a theme for this event. It's the inescapable truth of today. And it's now, I mean, it's been the truth forever, but now we are coming more and more into the place of having to see it, recognize it, live it, express it, and change how we live and how we think because of it. And that which our religious traditions have shared with us, now science is showing us the same thing. As Puja Swamiji mentioned, our tradition says, Vasudev Kutumbaka, the world is a family. And one of my favorite teachings of the Christian tradition is the teaching of love thy neighbor as thyself. And the reason that I love that teaching so much is that nowhere does it say specifically, as far as what I've learned, nowhere does it say specifically which neighbor. So it doesn't say your next door neighbor. It doesn't say those on your block. It doesn't say those in a 20-meter radius. And it makes us realize that since he didn't specify, that it actually means the world is your neighbor. Recognize that all are your neighbor, and therefore love all as yourself. And it's such an important teaching for today, because what it means is when we can't actually even know everyone, most of us don't even know those on our blocks, let alone those in our whole neighborhood, those in our communities. But if we're being called upon to love them, not just to know them, but to love them, it means that in them we recognize the divine, we recognize God. And because we love God, we love them as we love the divine, as we love ourselves. And that to me is this essential and exquisite teaching that is so necessary for today, and that is encapsulated so beautifully in the teachings of His Grace Pope Francis. And what we've seen is that as COVID has wreaked havoc upon the health, upon the medical world, and upon the economic world of every country in the world, is that we are connected. That which began with someone eating something in a meat market in central China has rippled out into every single corner of every city, of every country around the globe. And so it's time for us really to wake up and to realize that which our religious traditions have been saying from the beginning, which is we are connected, we are one. And now we're seeing it scientifically, we're seeing it medically, that what's happening in one part of the world is rippling out and impacting those all across the world. And as we learn to treat COVID, as we learn to protect ourselves and our communities from it, we're actually learning how to live in what we've been calling the new normal. Because it's not about that illusion of separation that has gotten us into this situation to begin with, but it's actually into the truth of the awareness that what every one of us does is impacting people all over the world, and that we are one. The same 5 elements that make up our soil, our creation, are the same 5 elements that make up our body. The same water that flows in the rivers in front of us is the same water that makes up our bodies. And so as we speak about protecting ourselves, keeping ourselves healthy and safe, we realize that that self includes the earth, the trees, the water, the elements, all of the divine creation, because that is one with the self. And as we speak about Mother Earth and our one common earth, to me it has seemed during the COVID epidemic that Mother Earth, very much like any mother who has been trying and trying to teach her children to behave, to teach her children to take proper care of themselves and their surroundings, but who finally became so exasperated by her children misbehaving and not listening, harming themselves, harming their siblings, harming their neighbors, that she literally and metaphorically sent us to our rooms until we learn our lesson. And what it means is right now is the time for us all to learn that lesson, because today it's COVID. And as has been said so beautifully, tomorrow it'll be something else, whether it's another virus, whether it's some super bug bacteria, whether it's climate change, whether it's lack of water, whether it's lack of food, whatever it may be. All of these threats are lining up to literally wreak havoc upon ourselves and on our planet if we don't change how we live. There's a beautiful teaching in the Upanishads that says, Isha vasyamidam sarvam, yat kincha jagatyam jagat, tena tyaktena bunjita, ma gradaha kasya svidhanam. And what it means is, everything in the universe is pervaded by the divine. There is nothing, no one, that is not pervaded by the divine. Therefore, be very careful in what you use, in how you use it, because it doesn't belong to you. Everyone and everything is God and is God's. And so use only that which you absolutely need. Use it with love. Use it with care. Use it with sharing, because it isn't yours. It actually is God's, and it is of God and belongs to the universe. We have thought for so long that Mother Earth belongs to us, that somehow she's a commodity to be used and abused and discarded. And if we hadn't learned it before, what COVID has made abundantly clear is we're not the ones in charge here. Even the most powerful nations of the world have been paralyzed by a microscopic virus. And tomorrow they're going to be paralyzed by lack of water, by rising oceans, by climate change. And this is where we need to come together and to raise our collective consciousness. Because tragically, we hear all over the world in so many conferences, whether it's United Nations, wherever it may be, we hear and we learn about the global water shortage, the global food shortage, the global land shortage. But the real truth is, we actually have enough water for all. We actually produce more than enough food that our world needs. The problem is we have a global consciousness shortage. And because we have a global consciousness shortage, our land, our water, our food, our resources, instead of being shared amongst all, instead of being used with compassion and love and oneness for our sisters and brothers of every race, every religion, every color, every culture, are being co-opted, hijacked, grabbed, held by a tiny percentage. And so as religious leaders, we need to come together across all borders, across all boundaries, and really help raise the global consciousness. Because every one of us, what we eat, what we wear, how we shop, how we live, is creating the world that we live in. And so very quickly, time is very short, but in just 1 or 2 last minutes, we need to share with our congregations, our constituencies, our communities, the power that every one of us has to be the change we want to see in the world. Number 1, by being vegetarian. The meat industry, and this is United Nations statistics, the meat industry, animal agriculture, the livestock industry is the single greatest contributor to climate change, the single greatest destroyer of our environment. It is also that which is leading to world hunger, lack of water. There is no reason for our sisters and brothers to go hungry or starve, except that we are channeling the planet's grain, the planet's water, the planet's resources in such a way that the tiny percentage with the luxury to choose are choosing in ways that are bringing about death and destruction and suffering to the rest of the planet. And so as the religious leaders, it is incumbent upon us to really help everyone understand those children are your sisters and brothers. Those families are your families. Those trees, those rivers, those in the Amazon, they are us. They are our global family. Last, to commit ourselves to buying organic, to buying fair trade, to ensuring that whatever we buy, whatever we eat, whatever we use, whatever we're supporting, is something that is grown, is created in line with a healthy, safe, sustainable environment, that we are not using our rupees, our dollars, our euros to support industries that are turning our children and our mothers and our sisters and our daughters into slave workers, that are putting them in sweatshops so that we can have more, cheaper, that we are not supporting industries whose waste is flooding our soil, our groundwater, our rivers, our airs, giving millions of people death by air pollution, death by water pollution. And that is the power we all have. We may not, each of us individually, have the power to come up with a COVID vaccine. We may not have the power to bring oxygen into the lungs of those who are suffering from COVID today. But we do have the power, with our choices, with our values, with our priorities, with our decisions, every day, to make a choice for global consciousness, to make a choice for health, happiness, life, sustainability for all. And lastly, in conclusion, as today is, as has been said so beautifully, Biodiversity Day. As we celebrate our sisters and brothers of every species around the world, not only do we give them love, but we actually commit that we will eat, we will dress, we will shop, we will travel, we will live in accordance and in alignment with the teachings that our scriptures give us, all of our scriptures give us, which is we are one with the planet. We are one with all. And thank you so much to our Honorable Archbishop Machado, to Father Paul, to the entire family of Caritas International, and to all of my respected and honorable brothers and sisters who have brought us all together today. Let us stay together. Let us work together. Let us pray together. Let us serve together for really the future of our global one family. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Saraswati ji, for your very spiritual, highly spiritual and wonderful speech. And you have given a strong message on the importance of divine creations and the need of protecting Mother Earth and we as part of one human home. Thank you very much for your message, Saraswati ji. Over to Miss Reina Braganza, who was the board member of Caritas India for many years. I would like to invite Miss Reina Braganza for your message. Over to Reina, please.
Respected members of the panel, in particular Sadhvi Bhagwati ji, the other minority on the panel, the only other woman, and my dear friends. Pope Francis, quoting St. Francis of Assisi in Laudato Si, reminds us that our common home is like a sister with whom we share our life, and a beautiful mother who opens her arms to embrace us. He tells us that this sister now cries out to us because of the harm we have inflicted on her by our irresponsible use and abuse of the goods with which God had endowed her. The violence present in our hearts, wounded by sin, is also reflected in the symptoms of sickness evident in the soil, in the water, in the air, and in all forms of life. The plight of the feminine imagery that is used for nature mirrors the situation of abuse, neglect, and abandonment that the marginalized, and in particular, women and girls face in our society. Pope Francis, in his Urbi et Orbi message and blessing for the pandemic, remarked that the COVID crisis forces us to recognize our interdependence. Indeed, caring for each other, he says, is the only true way to move beyond these interconnected crises. Now, this attitude of caring and concern for the other, we normally associate with women. And it is often commented on in cliched tongues as something that is banal and not really of significance in comparison to the attributes of enterprise, leadership, planning, and organizational acumen we ascribe to men. But I'm not going to dwell on the details of either COVID-19 or Laudato Si or men and women. I will instead focus on the social and economic crisis of COVID-19 through the lens of gender. Last Sunday's Indian Express newspaper highlighted how COVID-19 was amplifying gender inequality in India. While much of COVID-19's epidemiology remains a mystery, we know that it claims more lives of men than women. In some countries, double the number of men. While men's immune systems may be less equipped to fight the virus, the socio-economic consequences of COVID-19 are stacking the deck against women, especially in countries where gender inequality is a persistent challenge. Women are bearing a disproportionate amount of the burden that the imposition of lockdowns, limited accessibility to basics like food and health services, and the shrinking of economic opportunity has created. Even in normal times, women face extra burdens when infrastructure is inadequate. Large numbers of women working as domestic workers or daily wage workers, because they have wayward or drunken husbands, they are the ones who are responsible for running their families on their meager wages. Today, these workers are victims of no job, no pay, and yet families dependent on them. These women live with their families in bastis or slums like Dharavi in Mumbai or Ram Tekadi in Pune, both of which top the list of COVID hotspots in the cities they are in. We glibly talk about social distancing, immunity building, nourishing food, repeated sanitizing or hand washing, all a privilege that those living in crowded, polluted, dirty shanties, tiny homes with common toilets and limited water supply cannot even think of. The women bear the brunt of standing in long lines, crowded small spaces to fill water from trickling community taps. COVID-19 is shifting other household dynamics too. Domestic responsibilities that women bear, like cooking and cleaning, have ballooned. Even worse, because women in Indian families tend to eat last and the least, research has shown that financial strain and food shortages affect women's nutrition more than it affects men's. Harassment, abuse, domestic violence is escalating behind closed doors as a consequence of the isolation. And it's affecting women across classes, across religions, across any divide. To make matters worse, the lockdown has cut off most formal and informal support systems for women. Healthcare resources are being diverted from routine health services, further reducing the already limited access of many girls and young women to sexual and reproductive health services, as well as maternal, newborn, and child care services, thereby exacerbating the risks to girls and women's health and lives. Unequal access to technology for women and girls will fuel further consequences, especially in their access to education, which is going online, and employment, which is forecast to be moving online. Girls and young women are facing severe economic shock, and they are more likely to take on high-risk work for their economic survival. What would a gender-sensitive pandemic response look like? It begins with a full-throttled focus on supporting women who face domestic violence. Publicize helplines, relax lockdown rules for women to leave home and seek support, sensitizing police. Policy response must be structured around rebuilding economies and societies in ways that ensure women's employment and economic empowerment, enabling them to lead safe, productive, and fulfilling lives. Let us remember that the very ones society devalued in pre-COVID times, the caregivers, nurses in the clinics and at home, cleaning crews, child caretakers, as well as teachers and educators, are almost always women. And now these are racing to fill the gaps. The work of these people keep us alive, but their lives are continuously and currently threatened by their work. While a virus does not biologically discriminate, our social systems are clearly favoring the contagion and survival of some over others. The risk of harm from the coronavirus is greatest to those most vulnerable, those with lower income, less benefits, and fewer rights, the most vulnerable of whom are women and girls. Their vulnerability is our vulnerability. We are all interdependent and connected. Pope Francis has called us to a transformation of our outlook and ways. Countries led by women have shown a quicker, much better response in controlling the COVID crisis in their countries. Even the state of Kerala, with a woman home minister, has had a significantly better impact on the COVID crisis. These women must be doing something right. The old way of doing things has brought us to today. The truth is staring in our faces. Our model is unjust and just plain wrong. We need to heed the Pope's call to seek other ways of understanding systems and structures of society, religion, economy, and progress. Can we hear the cry of the poor and the earth this time? Can we recognize the neglect and abuse of people and the planet by which we were brought to this breaking point? Can we take the time to reflect together, including the voices and perspectives of those normally excluded and silenced, those on the margins of gender, economics, sexuality, politics, faith traditions, instead of just male voices in our forums and discussions and in our planning and responding? Can we make choices that are healing, sustainable, and just? For if we don't, we will be in an as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be situation. In the words of Laudato Si, everything is interconnected, and genuine care for our own lives and our relationships with nature are inseparable from fraternity, justice, and faithfulness to others. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reina Braganza, for your sharing on the women's perspective on socio-economic crisis of COVID-19 in India. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be part of this and giving a message. There is a request to those who are not the speakers, like Father Manoj Kumar. Can you switch off your video? Father Manoj Kumar and the Father from Bijanur. Can you switch, Father from Bijanur? Can you switch off your video? Thank you. Over to Father Joseph Gonsalves, who is the Executive Secretary of FABC, OHD and CCD, for his message. Father Joseph, yes. Over to you for your message.
Yeah. Thank you. Respected most Reverend Bishops, esteemed members on the panel, and my dear friends. At the outset, I would like to thank Father Paul and his team for organizing this webinar on Laudato Si and COVID-19 on the occasion of the 5th anniversary of Laudato Si Week. A few days ago, I received a WhatsApp message which read, novel coronavirus asking human beings, where are your doctors and scientists? Where are your nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction? Catch me if you can. As I reflected on this message, I realized that how a tiny and an invisible organism has brought the entire humankind on its knees by causing economic destruction and deaths in thousands. The high and mighty nations have collapsed, and the world staring at a global recession. The inspiring, powerful words of Mary, Mother of Jesus in the Magnificat make profound sense. He casts the mighty from their thrones and raises the lowly. The COVID-19 pandemic once again highlights the interconnectedness of humans with the natural world, as well as our fragile existence. Laudato Si is one of the longest of the papal encyclicals and is also known as the Green Encyclical, as it covers a wide range of issues spanning from climate change to creation theology to ecological conversion. In the encyclical, Pope Francis urges all people of goodwill to care for a common home that is beginning to crumble. It gives a ray of hope, which states a clear message. Humanity still has the ability to work together in building our common home. Pope Francis also draws our attention to eco-justice, that we need to listen to the cry of the poor, who are disproportionate victims of our common home. The poor and the marginalized are the ones who are worst affected by the ecological crisis. Ms. Braganza has already shared with us the impact of COVID-19 on women. In the third chapter, entitled Human Roots of Ecological Crisis, Pope Francis challenges the mentality of technocratic domination that leads to the destruction of nature and the exploitation of people, especially the most vulnerable populations. He invites us that we need to move from egocentric to ecocentric paradigm. Man is a part of creation and not at the heart of creation. Francis also very forcefully speaks against the growing throwaway culture, the mentality, and reiterates that use and throw culture is now applicable not only to natural waste, but also in treating human beings and nature. In the encyclical, Pope advocates ecological spirituality and calls for ecological conversion on part of human beings. We need to have green hearts. The ecological conversion is to recognize the presence of God in creation, because creation is ultimately God's handiwork, created and constantly sustained by God's infinite love. Hence, we have the obligation to be responsible stewards of creation and to preserve and protect God's precious gift to human beings. In one of the speeches, His Eminence Cardinal Oswald Gracious mentioned that when we pollute the environment with our industries and consumeristic lifestyle, and we do nothing, are getting extinct, we destroy the balance in the ecosystem because of industries that pass consumeristic lifestyles, we are breaking the sixth commandment, thou shalt not kill. And when we realize that we are leaving behind for ourselves, as well as for the future generation, a planet which is sick, wounded, and depleted of natural resources, we are breaking the eighth commandment, thou shalt not steal. We have seen the positive impact of the pandemic on environment, and Bishop Alvin De Silva has rightly pointed out to us. We have seen how creation slowly healing itself in the form of bluer waters and clearer skies. Thus, human beings have a capacity to rebuild this broken, fragmented world with the grace of God. I want to highlight an important issue of how in the post-pandemic period is going to adversely affect the environment, not only in India, but in several other developing countries. We all are aware, the Indian economy is in doldrums and on the verge of collapse. Millions of people are jobless because of pandemic, as well as due to the agrarian distress. In order to revive the economy, the governments all over the world will have to create employment opportunities. And the dominant paradigm that will be used is infrastructural development. The economy will get a massive boost by pumping billions of rupees for constructing roads and highways, industrial hubs, etc. Hence, land will be acquired, trees will be hacked. What we are doing is we will be sacrificing environment at the altar of development. Yes, we will be sacrificing environment at the altar of development. On one hand, it will create livelihood and bolster economic development. But on the other hand, environment will be damaged and destroyed. When we hack one tree, It is not only that one tree that is affected. The cutting of one tree is destroying the entire ecosystem that exists along with it. There are birds and insects and microorganisms that survive on that tree. Therefore, when we cut down one tree, we are actually destroying the birds, the insects, the entire ecosystem connected with it. Laudato speaks of this interconnectedness and integral ecology. How can we try to overcome this? How can we try to build a just and sustainable world? We can think about 5 thrust areas. First area is spirituality. How can we come in contact with creation, going for nature walks, being in contact with creation, praying for creation. Mother Earth is suffering. We need to pray for our Mother Earth. So how can we grow in our spirituality by coming in contact with creation? Second is education. How can we be part of various awareness sessions? How can we disseminate information on Laudato Si encyclical? How can we have more like these inter-religious webinars and seminars whereby people from different faiths and tradition come and share and speak their experiences of being part of creation? So how can we spread can we think about going solar? How can we think about water conservation? How can we promote eco-friendly celebration? How can we eliminate all forms of waste? Can we on many things that are not necessary? One of the important things that I would like to also speak about is Shroud Burial. And I would like to quote from the Diocese of Vasai, His Grace Monsignor Felix Machado is with our Archbishop Philip Machado. In their diocese, they have these shroud burials where they do not use coffins. Can we do away with coffins? Can we bury our loved ones in shroud? We need to think about it. The fourth is, how about networking and advocacy? How can we join hands with other groups, other NGOs, other people, other environmentalists, that we all people are concerned that we need to care for creation and we need to protect and promote creation. And finally, the fifth area that I would like to highlight is our personal lifestyle. How can we become more eco-sensitive, eco-friendly? How can we reduce things that are not needed? How can we try to lighten our ecological footprints? How can we reduce our carbon footprints? I think these are 5 little ways in which we can truly bring about change in our mindset. My dear friends, it's urgent and necessary that each one of us become warriors, eco-warriors, earth warriors, fighting to save and protect God's beautiful creation. We are called to reflect and move towards ecological conversion. How can our hearts become green hearts? The FABC OSD ECISIDE has published a booklet, Laudato Si Week booklet, to celebrate the Laudato Si Week. 12 activities have been suggested from praying and reflecting with Laudato Si. Let us inculcate an eco-friendly mindset and become aware of our carbon footprints and take care of creation, the beautiful gift of God to us. Let us all strive to build a just and a sustainable world. Once again, thank you very much to each one of you for listening patiently.
Thank you very much, Father Joseph, for your message. And you said our planet is sick and polluted. So the time has come for us to intervene through spirituality, eco-spirituality, eco-friendly living style, eco-friendly celebrations, eco-restorations, etc. And we will do together. And I really thank you for joining us in this program, because it is Caritas India together with FABC organizing this webinar. Thank you very much, Father Joseph.
Thank you.
Now it is the concluding remarks by Your Excellency, Bishop Joshua Mar Ignatius, who is also the moderator. Over to you, Bishop Joshua.
Khairida, sorry, may I just intervene? I would like to see some questions or some interventions from the people who are participating. those who are interested to make some intervention, some question, try to be brief as possible, not exceeding 60, maybe 30 seconds. If you want to, on the panel, you will see a icon to raise your hand. So accordingly, Bishop Joshua, who is moderating the session, will call out the names and you can come forward. We will take another 15 minutes for this, including the concluding message from Bishop Joshua. Now over to the participants.
This is Ray. I don't see the icon, but can I intervene, moderator?
Yeah, please tell your name and then proceed.
Yeah. My name is Ray.
Ray, please proceed.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you to all the illuminating presenters, the archbishops, bishops, friends from the environment, and also I especially would like to thank the presentations of our Puja Swamiji Chidanand Saraswati ji. Sir, I have been in your ashram some years ago, and you gave me a privilege to be part of the evening Arati Puja where we prayed together. And thank you for all this. While I am appreciating all the inputs, I just wanted to share 3 small points. One, while globally we are celebrating the healing of the nature, when we localize it, somehow things still remain the same. While virus globally has contributed to restoration of nature in some form, but locally we are seeing further problems, some of them getting exacerbated. One, the hunger. I see hunger growing more and more if you bring down the picture to a localized level. And if you disaggregate the data of especially children and women, it looks sometimes more scary how more deaths are happening but unrecorded. Then a while ago, one speaker spoke of domestic abuse and violence. So my recommendation or request would be, how can we localize this picture? Then we also see globally digital media taking over, social media using it to its potential, but the digital poor are getting further away from this and their marginalization is getting further exacerbated. So how can we deal with this? So for me, the whole logic of Laudato Si, as a Catholic, as a Christian ethic, this has become a personal testament of life. For a whole year, I've been reading it and reading it 10 times over I've done. And I'm also writing my own personal ways of doing it. But it is important that we bring this application to the very local level, and especially among the marginalized poor and so on. The recommendation I would like to make is using the word which Swamiji said, plant. But I am decoding the plant as people's liberation and nature's transformation. Thank you for this opportunity.
केवल उसका वो है.
Hello.
Next one, please. If anybody would like to. I don't see.
This is Father Manoj.
Yes, Father Manoj, please go ahead.
First of all, I congratulate very good point which was made by Pujya Swami Chintanand Saraswati ji when he spoke about the every celebration we should plant a tree, and what I think is this should be our plan. Through this we can help nature to grow more beautifully, also become aware of all pollution. When we are planting a trees, we are coming closer to the nature and also helping nature and humanity to grow. These things I want to make a comment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Father Manoj. We have the hand of Albert Tambidurai, please.
Dear speakers and the bishops, it was a wonderful and I enjoyed all the talks. I have two suggestions to make. One is the policy making of the government. If they don't put into it, then nothing can change. So policy makers have to be educated. The second thing, the industrialists. The industrialists who spoil a lot the water, air, everything. So what is the lobby or what is the system that we are going to have, or we can dialogue with them to bring a change, to be a more responsible and ethical industrialist? These are my two suggestions.
Thank you, Father Albert. I see a hand from Vasai Janhit.
Yes,
Father Francis?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Jabri from Vasai. Good afternoon to all the panelists and all those who are listening. It was a wonderful presentation and beautiful way, practically how we can do what Pope Francis has suggested. My one question is, how can we network at a larger level? How can we go beyond our boundaries and network with all kinds of like-minded people that will give us a beautiful way to concretize whatever has been suggested. Thank you and God bless you all. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Francis, for that question. Any one of the panelists can respond to that before I come to Kiran. Maybe Father Francis will come back to that later. Somebody will respond to you. Now we have Kiran. Father Kiran,
Paul,
please.
can I respond?
Yeah, please, Reina, please. Yeah, please, please.
Okay, Francis, I'm like you. I'm looking for people, getting people together to reflect, getting men and women from all starting. I think we have to start where we are, whether we use our small Christian communities or whatever, and then connect initially with secular groups around. There are plenty of people who at the moment who are getting together for environmental issues, for gender issues, for different things, civic issues. Let's start small, but let's start reflecting on Laudato Si in our small groups, maybe. Onus is on us.
Thank you, Reina. Now, Father Kiran.
Thank you, panelists and Father Paul, for this opportunity. I look at the present situation of COVID-19 as a very positive sign towards Laudato Si and its recommendation. Because though the people are suffering, my own Indians, as the bishops said, my own fellow brother is suffering. But to a certain extent, our air has become very clean. Our the rivers are becoming clean. The nature's the kind of exploitation what men human beings have done due to our own exploitation is getting in a way settled. Maybe it is a time made by the nature itself to rehabilitate the ecosystem. That's what my reflections are. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Kiran. Anybody else? I don't see any other hand, but if there is anybody, we can take a couple of questions more. Yes, we have Amjad Gulsar, who is the director of Caritas Pakistan. Amjad, thank you. Please.
Yes, thank you, Father, and thank you, Caritas India. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please. We can hear you.
All right. Yeah, I think from starting of this webinar,
Amjad, can you switch on your mic, your video as well?
I think this Laudato Si really very
Amjad, little Not audible. Not audible.
No, can you hear me now?
Hello. Can you be audible, please?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Perfect. So I have just spoken about the fact that 19 webinar. I think it was really very important, and I appreciate Caritas India particularly and India organized in our here I just would like to share an example that Caritas Pakistan last 4 years organized 1 million tree plantation campaign, and that was a very successful model in this sense that we got appreciation from government department, our church, and the important factor was we engaged many stakeholders, church, institutions, NGOs, government departments, and many others. So here I just like to put a suggestion that we, Caritas Pakistan, Caritas India, Asia, we can raise this campaign at sub level so that we can take this particular component on the bigger level and create impact message of democracy and like more suggestion.
Thank you, Amit, Amjad. Now we have Father Andaya. Andaya. Father Andaya, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, please, fast.
I'm really happy that Caritas India bringing us so many eminent, panelists bringing us together, and the people who love Laudato Si together on one platform. And I really like the speech of Swamiji, very, very encouraging. As he said that, coronavirus is an ambassador from the earth, telling us what it needs from all of us. I think, in the days to come, we need to encourage more and more these green marriages, birthdays, or anniversaries. That should become a part of our culture. And also, somebody said not only the macro level, but also the macro level. We need a lot of hands together, networkings in the not only the national level, in the regional level. Lot of like-minded NGOs and bringing us all of us together, and also networking, also lobbying with the government, policy change especially, and also something to do even in the education, that about this common home, preserving the earth, taking care of the earth should be part of the curriculum, even in the textbooks and the classrooms. If those things happen, and certainly something good will happen to us and unto earth. Thank you everyone.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Andaya. Now we have John Arogiraj. He's a colleague in Caritas India. John, please.
But then
John, are you there? We move on to.
Am I audible now, Father?
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, you are audible. Yeah.
Yeah. Good afternoon, respected dignitaries. Big thanks to the wonderful speakers. It was really inspiring. I just have a suggestion, which is also a clarification, and it is in line with what Father Antaya said. We know children are the future of any nation. How we can strategize collectively to take the message of Laudato Si across the student community. Thank you.
Thank you, John. We have Father Peter Ashirwad. Just a small request from others. If you are not speaking, please put your microphones in mute. mute mode. There is a lot of disturbance. We will give a chance to everyone who wants to speak. Now we move on to Father Peter Ashirwad, please. Father Peter, unmute your mic, please. Unmute your mic. Father Peter, please unmute your microphone and speak. Father Peter, please unmute your microphone. You are not
Father
audible.
Paul, Father Paul, can I leave?
Maybe we will hold on. Puja Swamiji, we were really enriched and enthused by your wisdom. It was absolutely brilliant, and everybody enjoyed your message. I don't know whether you would like to make any just concluding remark, if you would like to.
Just time for action. That's it. Green actions. Let us be together and let us have green actions. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Father Peter Ashirwad, over to you. Unmute your mic and speak. Please unmute your mic and speak. We cannot hear you. If you would like to unmute your mic, or else we go to Father Benny. Father Benny from Kerala, Talasheri. Father Benny.
Father, good afternoon, everybody. I would like to congratulate the team of Caritas and the leadership of Father Paul. And just to be one share, we also like to appreciate the speech of Swamiji. It was very interesting and wisdom. And I want just to make a request to the Father Paul, because now the new culture, as Father Swamiji told, new culture is coming. A lot of people are coming back to India and different states. At time we can make Caritas India can make any platform for the laborers, or whether they can share their idea, whether people can gather together in the net for the website, and they can select the laborers like that one platform Caritas India can create. That would be good. Once again, I congratulate our Paul and team.
Thank you, Father Benny. Anybody else would like to, or else we, Father Peter Ashirwad, can you unmute your mic and speak? They are not audible. Father Peter, you are not audible still.
Father Peter, your mic is
Meantime, we have Father Peter, we cannot hear you. Unmute your mic. We will move on to Father Varghese Velikagam. He is from Assam. Father Varghese.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. We can hear you.
Yeah. So I thank all the panelists for the wonderful presentation. Can you hear? Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you also, Dr. Haridas and Father Paul and Caritas team for inviting me to join this webinar. One suggestion I have is that we should promote the Earth Day network. Already Caritas India is part of it, and also I had been inviting all the forum directors to join this endeavor. So I think we can take forward this action for the environment in a bigger way. So that is my suggestion.
Thank you, Father Varghese. I do not know whether anybody else. Father Peter is still speaking with his mic muted. We are helpless there. If anybody else is there, we can take your questions. Yeah, who is that? Somebody raise the hand. Please, can you tell your name? I think it is Father Kiran from Andhra Pradesh. Yeah, please. Unmute your mic, please. Unmute your mic.
Appreciate the great speakers, and I just want to bring to the notice
that before this COVID-19, there is a global criticism on the encyclical Laudato Si that it is anti-modernism, it is against the government. But COVID-19 actually has really brought or enlightened all of us the importance of Laudato Si. And I would like to say that a periodical lockdown of the transportation and of the industries which pollute may restore the earth. So thank you, fathers and the bishops. Great work.
Thank you, Father Kiran. Now we have Father George from Kottayam, Kerala. He is the forum director. Father George.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father Paul and team for organizing such a wonderful meeting. Especially, hello.
Please go on.
Thank you for this wonderful meeting, and especially thanks for the great eminent panelists. My humble suggestion is that Caritas can prepare a common guideline for the national church regarding green action and green celebrations.
Green action.
For that, for green celebration, Caritas can prepare a common guideline for the entire national church. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father George, for that wonderful suggestion. Suggestion well taken. I think it's almost time. It's getting to 12:45. We will conclude. Maybe a last chance to Father Peter Ashirwad. If you would like to make your opinion, please unmute your mic and speak. They're not able to hear you.
Our principal is not there. Their principal is not there.
Okay, that's not working out. May I now request Bishop Joshua, our CBCI President 1, to give us the concluding message. I took the liberty of assisting him in moderation because I know the people. Hope you don't mind that. Now I would request you to give us the concluding message and conclude this conference. Thank you. Over to Bishop Joshua.
Yeah. My dear friends, Laudato Si and COVID-19 was an occasion for us on behalf of Caritas India and FABC to convene a meeting like this, one human family, one common home. Actually, the panelists all really enriched us, enlightened us in different ways to see that one common home, humanity can work together in building our common home through our projects, preserve and conserve our natural resources. Then we also saw the cry of nature, integral ecology and interconnectedness, that encouraging planting multiple species trees of ensuring diversity. Our Swamiji was enlightening us to be green. And our poster on stand with the poor affected by disasters, especially in the Calcutta event now, nearly 72 people died there because of the natural calamity. Of course, Caritas India is the first one to be there to support them. We know that, but still the disasters are increasing. We have to build a climate resilient community. Then the cry of God, eco-spirituality, our communion with the Creator and creation, our spiritual depths that we work, protect our common home. Then Garden of Eden, children to take part on household gardening. It is said here, cutting tree is harming the nature. But we used to say when you cut one tree, you have to plant 10 trees, only then you have a right to cut one tree. What what beautiful expression is that then the industrialists and other people emanating carbon and destroying our nature, reduce the carbon footprints from the nature. All that wonderful service is rendered by Caritas India. I appreciate very much. My dear friends, creation is the manifestation of God's presence. In the nature, everything is created by God, and God's presence we are to feel in the nature. And Holy Father Pope Francis mentioned, earth is our common home. We are to respect our mother and support her so that we may be in unity with God, with others, with our own consciousness and the nature in which we live. Swamiji also mentioned, God has provided everything for the need of the people, but not for the greed. Now the COVID has proved us, the rich and the poor, the educated and the uneducated, all are in the same foot. Now, what is the challenge God is asking us? We are called to build a society or a community founded on truth, built on justice and animated by charity, love. To build a community on truth, we have to be truthful to God, truthful to the nature, truthful to ourselves and to others. Giving justice in a society like ours, where the economy is manipulated for the sake of the affluent society and not caring the poor. Gandhiji already mentioned, when you take a decision, take the decision for the interest of the last, least and the lost. So the emphasis for giving justice to the women, to the children, to the vulnerable group, to the sick, to the suffering, we have to give justice. Then all that we can do is through our love, charity. Our Lord said, love one another as I have loved you. Love from God's side is giving, not getting. Getting is selfishness, giving is selflessness. Let us go forward. God has given everything for us as a beautiful creation. Hence, we have to see the positive aspects of this COVID-19 and how to implement Laudato Si in our own life situation. Life becomes serene. Availability range increased now. Normal life pattern of the common man was so hectic before the COVID-19. Now the lifestyle becomes changed to tranquility. He has more time to reflect, more time to observe nature. Then coming to the family ties become deep and intimate because of the heavy workload. Parents got little time to sit down for themselves. They did not get time for children. Now COVID-19 lockdown provides more time with the family members, especially for children. Then deep religious convictions, spirituality becomes interiorized. Silence is placed at top. Celebration aspects and social gathering of the religious life gave way to silent prayer and contemplation. Home becomes center of worship. Social awareness of cleanliness increased. Personal hygiene improved. Keeping social distancing, using mask and sanitation gave cleanliness in personal life and social life. Break the chain venture opened, new starting in the field of hygiene. Then mutual care, respect for others, care for the needy, providing food and commodities for the marginalized. Because of the loss of labor, Due to closing of business shops and factories and so on, common people does not have enough financial backing for the day-to-day life. Different NGO groups, church associations, and different volunteer groups took initiatives to provide food materials, medical equipments to the needy. Pollution rate decreased. Pure air, pure water, and pure soil. Our sky becomes clear and blue because of the overpollution. Oxygen supply was less and dangerous. Global warming rate minimized. Depletion of the ozone layer. Global warming is a great threat to the future of humanity. Economic competition of the developed nations causes climate changes. The biobalance of the nature is totally distorted because of the nuclear war and power politics of the rich nations. Road accident ratio and death rate decreased. Since the strict observance of the lockdown regulations, our roads are comparatively calm and less accidents. Value and relevance of agriculture and consumption of bioproducts increased. Go to the primary values of agriculture. Each one needs to cultivate his own food. It gives importance to the dignity of labor. Egocentric attitude gives way to altruistic outlook. Swamiji beautifully mentioned that. Our life is not for ourselves. The ability and willingness to share what we have for the betterment of others are important. Life becomes meaningful and worthy when it is for others. My dear friends, thank you very much. I appreciate very much, and I congratulate and thank all the panelists and the friends for your patience, listening, and effective participation. May God bless Caritas India, FABC, and all concerned about this Laudato Si program execution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Bishop Joshua, for that beautiful concluding message. If Father Peter is there, this is a last chance for you. I saw your picture. If you want to make anything at the end of this session, you are welcome. Father Peter? Hello? Okay, we move on to the conclusion of this conference. Father Peter, you want to say something? You are there. Unmute your mic, please. We would like to see that everybody is given a chance. Okay, fine. Yeah. So thank you so much. The official order of thanks will be proposed by Father Jolie, Assistant Director. But at the same time, I would like to come in here with a few suggestions that one of the participants wrote to me saying that we are almost 3 crores Catholics in the country. If everybody can plant a tree, that would be a great thing. So let us make a resolve that as a commitment to this call from Pope Francis, each one of us can plant a tree in the coming days. That would be a great action on the ground. The other two things we would like to propose is that one is take measures of carbon fasting. There are different measures to do that. In fact, Swami Chidananda Saraswati ji proposed some measures, also Father Joseph. The other one is that something called Garden of Eden. We are coming with a new concept of that every family should have a family garden of vegetables or fruits, whatever. So if that also can be taken as one of the actions, that would be something great. So my dear friends, thank you so much for being part of this conference. God bless you. May I now request Father Jolie to give the word of thanks and then also conclude. Over to Father Jolie.
Thank you, Father Paul. Dear Archbishops, Bishops, Fathers, Sisters, members of Caritas India and FABC fraternity. As we celebrate the Laudato Si week
in the context of the 5th anniversary of the publication of the universal papal encyclical Laudato Si of our beloved Holy Father Pope Francis, addressed to the church fraternity and to all people of goodwill. We fruitfully spent these morning hours on this virtual platform, recollecting the rich content of Laudato Si as a historical document, as a prophetic document, inviting and motivating us to take a positive and pointed actions that will help to reinvent the beauty of God's creation and sustain the biodiversity of our planet for us and for our upcoming generations. Ever since the publication of Laudato Si, Caritas India, the humanitarian and social development wing of the Catholic Church in India, has been taking up several pioneering initiatives to preserve and conserve our Mother Earth and its biodiversity. This webinar of today is yet another step forward that Caritas India and FABC have taken to keep us remain focused on renewing the earth and creating this world to be a better place and a decent common home for everyone to live in and enjoy and cherish. All our eminent speakers of today have given us very inspiring and thought-provoking messages with many practical actions proposed as course corrections in our lifestyle, in our choice of our priorities, and a clarion call for adopting pro-planet value system in all that concerns us and concerns the living beings and organisms of the planet. On behalf of Caritas India, it's my privilege and pleasant duty to express our deep sentiments of gratitude to each one of you. First and foremost, we owe our gratitude to our God Almighty, the Creator of heaven and earth, for bringing us together as one family of God and of humanity to celebrate the beauty of His creation through this webinar. We express our gratitude to our beloved Holy Father Pope Francis for giving us such inspiring, vibrant, dynamic and action-oriented reflections and global consciousness through his papal encyclical Laudato Si. It's our great joy to have with us Most Reverend Joshua Mar Ignatius, the Vice President I of Catholic Bishops' Conference of India. We express our profound gratitude to you, dear Bishop Ji, for gracefully moderating today's webinar and for sharing with us your insights. It's again with great joy that we express our deep sentiments of gratitude to our Most Reverend Archbishop Felix Machado, the Secretary General of Catholic Bishops' Conference of India, for your presence with us and for giving us a very inspiring opening message. We express our sincere gratitude and appreciation to our beloved Chairperson of Caritas India, Most Reverend Archbishop Sebastian. We thank you for your constant accompaniment with Caritas India as our leader and mentor. The presence of Puja Swami Chidanand Saraswati, President, Parmarth Niketan and founder of Global Interfaith Wash Alliance with us for today's webinar has certainly added more vigor and color to the celebration of Laudato Si week by Caritas India and FABC. We are indeed blessed to have him with us this morning and for his inspiring message for all of us today. We are immensely grateful to you, dear Puja Swamiji, for your inspiring message for all of us. It also gives us great joy to have the presence of and the message of Sadhvi Bhagwati Saraswati. Thank you, dear Sadhviji. Most Reverend Bishop Alvin De Silva, President, Commission on Ecology of CCBI, has always been a fierce crusader of Green Earth movements and a champion of pro-poor stand within Mumbai and across the world. We are deeply grateful to you, dear Bishop G. Alvin, for your presence with us and for giving us very motivating message today. We also express our very sincere appreciations to Ms. Raina Braganza and Father Joseph Gonsalves for giving us several insightful thoughts through your message for us today. I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to dear Father Paul, the Executive Director of Caritas India, who was primarily instrumental in organizing this beautiful webinar today. Thank you, dear Father Paul, for all your dynamic leadership initiatives in Caritas India on several fronts, including that of care for our creation. I also express our appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Haridas, Caritas India Manager for Climate Action, for doing all the hard works behind the scene and making all the preparations to bring all of us on this common platform today to celebrate Laudato Si Week. My sincere appreciation to all the participants of today's webinar, both from within the country and overseas. All of you, dear friends and co-travelers of Caritas India, the directors of Caritas in other countries, the directors of regional and diocesan Caritas within India, several staff and colleagues of Caritas India, fathers, sisters, and our lay sisters and brothers, for your wonderful participation, interventions that you have made, clarifications you thought, and insights you shared with everyone on this virtual platform. Thank you, each one of you. Finally, let the celebration of Laudato Si Week be an occasion for us to recommit ourselves to the cause of preserving, conserving, and sustaining the biodiversity of our Mother Earth, our common home and heritage, and build a better and brighter future for us and for our future generations. Thank you, and God continue to bless us and our Mother Earth and help us to remain safe amid this COVID-19 pandemic. God bless you all.
Thank you, Father Jolly. I would like to specially appreciate and congratulate Dr. Haridas, our manager for climate affairs, and Patrick, our communication person, for the wonderful coordination of this webinar. Now, Haridas, over to you for the conclusion of this webinar. Haridas.
Yeah, thank you, Father. Thank you, everyone who has participated in this wonderful webinar. The resource persons and the speakers have done a wonderful speech and very inspiring, and many feel like doing something for our Mother Earth. So thank you very, very much for joining this important webinar. We will have to do something on behalf of Caritas and the Church in India to protect this Mother Earth. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye to everyone.